Looking for strategies to help you protect your portfolio in these uncertain times? Visit robblack.com. robblack.com, powered by EP Wealth.
March 26, 2026. I am getting old. Time is flying by. S&P 500 is down 45 points today. That's down a little bit more than 0.5%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is faring a little bit better. It's even had a little bit of green today. Sitting down 92 points, down 0.1%. The Nasdaq's down 1%, down 235 to 21,693. The Russell 2000 down 17, sitting at 2519. So all four major indices lower. Gold's lower as well, down 2%, down $94 to 44.57 an ounce. The VIX volatility number is right around 27, which is right when it starts getting anxious and scared and you start seeing irrational sell-offs. That's when you start seeing it. It gets bad around 40. The Bitcoin down $1,875 to $68,892. The 10-year Treasury sits at 4.37%. Considerable weakness across mega cap names is weighing on the major averages today. Fading optimism around a potential off-ramp to the war in Iran. There's more talks about a buildup of troops, American troops in Germany getting ready for a ground invasion. Higher yields and oil prices. And higher oil prices. Higher yields and higher oil prices is the right way to say that. Meta's down 2.8%. Alphabet's down 1.4%. Both trade lower after a jury found the company is liable in a landmark social media addiction case yesterday. Nvidia down 1.7%. Semiconductor index, Philadelphia Semiconductor Index down 2.1%. If we could turn around today or have a strong tomorrow, it'll be a first winning week in, I think, 4. But then again, we're only like 6-7% off our all-time highs, depending on what market you're looking at. Trump asserted this morning that Iran's negotiators better get serious soon before it's too late. That's a pretty big headline. There's an Axios report that the Pentagon is looking into options that will strike a final blow to Iran, including the possible deployment of ground troops. A gaggle of Middle East countries, including Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, invoked their right to self-defense against Iran in the future. That's something I don't quite understand, where it appears that a lot of the Middle Eastern countries would benefit from Iran's regime changing. And yet, there's not that much commitment. There's starting to be a little bit more statements here and there, but not that much commitment. For the year, oil's up 61%. Silver's up just 0.25%. Gold's up 4%. Magnificent Seven's down 9.7%. Russell 2000 has a small 1% gain. Nasdaq's down 5%. The S&P 500 down 3.8%. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average down 4%. This is going to creep you out. And it's going to tell you what's wrong with our economy right now. 215,000, that's the estimate number of people who donate plasma every day, including a rising share of the middle-class Americans. It's turning it into a side gig. Plasma donation centers have typically operated in lower-income areas. More are appearing in wealthier neighborhoods as more people look to supplement their incomes amid rising living costs. This was in an article in the New York Times, and it's just, you get $70 a shot. It's not a shot, they're drawing blood. So I've seen it as low as 35, but 70 is the norm. You're allowed to donate twice a week. That's the FDA maximum. In 1999, on this day, the Melissa virus, it was the first serious email virus infecting between 100 and 250,000 globally. Its creator was David L. Smith. He was sentenced to 20 months in prison in order to pay a $5,000 fine. Here's a cool use of AI. New Zealand-based startup Halter is trying to help farmers reduce costs with an AI-powered cow collar. The collar is catching an animal's illness before it worsens and lessens the need for human labor by letting farmers track cows' locations and breeding cycles through a mobile app. It's ag tech, agricultural technology, right? They just raised $220 million to expand into new markets this year and to add additional capabilities to its app. 72-year-old Wisconsin man who holds a world record for eating 36,000 plus Big Macs. How is he still alive? Gordon Haskett is speculating on Best Buy potentially acquiring GameStop. GameStop just transferred a lot of their Bitcoins to Coinbase. I think it was Coinbase. So they're doing something with their balance sheet. And maybe Best Buy would be a good acquisition. Try to open up some smaller Best Buys that are cheaper to operate. Morgan Stanley sees memory shortages driving durable strength in Micron and SanDisk. They got tripped up yesterday on a note out of Google that Google's come up with an algorithm that allows for the expansion of basically AI inference because it handles the memory storage differently. So it's going to be faster. Still going to need memory. That's what people didn't put one and one together yesterday on. I might talk about that a little bit more later. But Morgan Stanley is calling an overweight on Micron and SanDisk. Shortages are intensifying. Customers are prepaying for large volume deals, given conviction of these shortages will be sustainable. There will be a deceleration that's inevitable, but at 4 times earnings duration is all that matters, and these indicators all appear positive at this point in time. Krispy Kreme got upgraded to overweight from equal weight today at Capital One. There's something funny about saying Krispy Kreme got upgraded to overweight. Too sugary for me, but damn tasty when I was a younger man. Oh, they have a $6 price target on Krispy Kreme. Analyst David Voigt at UBS is talking about iPhone demand surging. They surveyed 4,000 iPhone users to analyze the installed base and traction of different Apple services. Key takeaways include, number one, that the iPhone purchase intent ticked higher across all regions. Most customers and their next smartphone purchase would be an iPhone, is what was noted. With the UK posting the largest increase of about 6 percentage points year over year, as intent in China increased about 400 basis points, a positive surprise. The number 2 fact that they found was the average age of the iPhone installed base globally was flattish at roughly 33 months. So I think I'm in a replacement cycle about every 3 years, just because wear and tear on the phone and heavy usage. The third thing that UBS found in their survey of iPhone users was global iPhone retention rate rose 200 basis points. And not only are people keeping their phones, but more people are interested in getting a phone from Apple. The fourth thing that they found was Apple Music and iCloud. Attach rates continue to grow and sustained its lead over other Apple services, supporting services gross margins greater than 75% in fiscal 2026 and 2027. A North Carolina startup named Planted is raising funds to scale production of building material made out of compressed grasses, offering a sustainable replacement to certain wood panels. Lucid Bots raised a hefty $20 million for a simple mission, cleaning. The company's drones and autonomous pressure washers bring faster exterior cleaning to businesses around the United States. That's interesting. That we're power washer that could track itself around a building, raise its arm, kind of like a 20-foot ladder arm. I like it. A North Carolina man pleaded guilty to using bots to stream his AI-generated songs billions of times. He defrauded streaming platforms, including Spotify, out of $8 million. He faces 5 years, and he has to forfeit the money. Tesla's in the news today. Analyst Tom Narayan at RBC Capital Markets sees first quarter Tesla deliveries slightly below expectations. Tesla killed off the Model S and Model X. He estimates Tesla deliveries of about 367,000 in the first quarter of 2026, below the visible alpha consensus of 369,000. Model S and X being discontinued in the second quarter of 2026 reflects a strategic pivot to robotaxis and humanoids, potentially pressuring private vehicle sales going forward. He did note that if we get elevated fuel costs, that could bolster near-term EV demand, providing some upside for Tesla. Jefferies initiates coverage of Robinhood with a buy and a $88 price target, implying about 21% upside from here. Robinhood is levered to rising global retail participation, and its rapidly evolving product set is driving increased revenue diversity and client retention. Robinhood's unique ability to attract the next generation investor positions it as one of the primary beneficiaries of the ongoing $100 trillion generational wealth transfer. At 26 times 2027 earnings expectations, they view this as an attractive entry point. Yesterday, Robinhood had authorized a $1.5 billion stock buyback. Yesterday, we learned that Fannie Mae, the government-backed mortgage finance giant, will start accepting mortgage backed by cryptocurrencies, namely Bitcoin and Circle. A mortgage firm named Better Home and Finance and U.S.-based crypto exchange Coinbase Global are rolling out a new product that enables prospective homebuyers to pledge their digital assets as down payment collateral when obtaining a mortgage backed by the Fannie Mae. This means that homebuyers can secure a standard, comfortable mortgage without liquidating tokenized assets. That would be triggering a taxable event. If Bitcoin drops in value, the mortgage terms remain unchanged and no additional collateral is required. A 10th co-founder is leaving xAI. Elon Musk has just one more left. That's not good. I'm pulling for Tesla, even though I don't own. And the fact that xAI and SpaceX are, just huge potentials. SpaceX is going to be trading at over 100 times sales, which is expensive when it comes public. SpaceX recently acquired xAI. The guy who left, Manuel Croix, has told people he's leaving the company. Croix, who is known as Macro, is one of the 11 engineers who helped launch the company alongside Elon Musk in 2023. It's crazy how many people have left. Croix led pre-training, which helps train the company's AI models on large data sets and reported to lead directly to Musk. He also worked on improving xAI's coding models alongside Guodong Zhang, who left earlier in March. Musk said at the Abundance Summit earlier this month that xAI is behind in coding, but the company is working to exceed our competitors on coding. Before working at xAI, Croix worked at Google and DeepMind. Success or failure starts at the top. That is not particularly good news to see that many leaders step aside. Reports suggest that Iran has officially rejected the U.S. peace proposal, and Iranian strikes against energy infrastructure targets in the region have neighboring Gulf states preparing for military action. It's worth noting that today's developments are not really groundbreaking to the market, as Iran has denied taking part in negotiations for some time. However, increased murkiness around the potential end of the conflict has oil prices rising. Google search has expanded. It's called Search Live. Globally with multilingual AI conversations via voice and camera. Google's got a blog that's pretty cool. And if you go to blog.google, if you search blog.google, you can find it. So they're expanding Search Live globally to all languages and locations where AI mode is available. People in more than 200 countries and territories can have interactive conversations with search in AI mode using both voice and camera. The expansion is enabled by their new audio and voice model, Gemini 3.1 Flash Live. I'd love to meet you April 18th, Saturday, 11:30 to 1:30 in Sunnyvale, California, Pints and Portfolio. It's an opportunity where I buy you a beer. It's for investors with $500,000 in investable assets. We'll give you a preliminary financial plan after the event because we can't do it with beer involved. I'll bring CFP Ryan Ignacio and Julie Chan O'Rourke from EP Wealth Advisors. I'll buy everyone a beer or two. It's a good opportunity for you to explore your investments, assess your financial track, get information on working with the CFP, figure out what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. I promise it'll be informal and educational and just a good time. Hopefully there'll be a baseball game on and it'll be sunny and we'll be out on the patio. Sign up at robblackshow.com. It's robblackshow.com. And remember, that's coming up April 18th. just after taxes.
The markets are more volatile than ever. Inflation, interest rates, global uncertainty. If you have $500,000 or more invested, ignoring it could cost you your future. At EP Wealth Management, they offer a free preliminary financial plan, a chance to identify potential risks in your portfolio before the next downturn hits. Get insights from Chad Burton, CFP, and Rob Black, trusted voices in financial planning and retirement strategies. They'll help you spot hidden risks, rebalance thoughtfully, and uncover opportunities to grow and protect your wealth, even in turbulent times. Their goal? To help you feel more confident about your financial future during uncertain times. Don't wait for the markets to decide your future. Schedule your complimentary preliminary financial plan at robblackshow.com. That's robblackshow.com. EP Wealth Management. Plan smarter, live better, no matter what the markets do. Investments not FDIC insured. Past performance does not guarantee future results. Not an offer to sell or a solicitation to buy any security. Member FINRA SIPC.
So as the morning is going on, the markets aren't doing much. S&P 500 is down 0.75%. The Dow's down 1/3%. The Nasdaq's down 1%. Russell 2000 is down 0.75%. The big headline is Trump is urging Iran to negotiate a deal before it's too late. It's going to take a lot of political muscle to get this thing finished. Gold's getting pummeled. Central Bank of buying gold, which picked up sharply after 2022, is unlikely to fade. That's one reason it may rebound. The Fed has missed its 2% inflation target for 4 straight years. I don't think a rate hike is on the horizon in 2026. But maybe. The inflation numbers are looking uglier than we expected. Being bullish on gold was one of the best trades of 2025. Precious metal saw its strongest annual performance in 46 years, surging 65%. Hit an all-time high of 5,600 an ounce, 5,608 in early February. Hasn't been a very safe trade. The energy shock from the conflict with Iran has sent inflation expectations ripping higher. Global equity markets have come under pressure. Institutional investors have been forced to liquidate their most profitable winning positions, likely to be gold, to cover margin calls. Bernstein is downgrading Qualcomm to hold from buy on concerns that the sky-high memory prices are pressuring the smartphone market this year. Qualcomm's way out of favor right now. Qualcomm's getting into the business of CPUs for data centers, which is what yesterday ARM Holdings announced as well. Please note that ARM stock is moving higher while Qualcomm's is moving lower. William Blair downgraded Adobe to hold from buy, citing intense AI competition in its core Creative Cloud business. I used to use Adobe Audition all the time, and now I'm just using a voice recorder from Microsoft and in an editor and doing my work that way. UBS upgraded Nucor to a buy from hold. They upped their price target to 190 from 184. Nucor is a U.S. steel producer. In theory, they should be largely protected from the Iran-U.S. war. Costco's got a new energy drink. And some people are wondering, is this going to cause Celsius, which is publicly traded, to lose market share? JP Morgan called the sell-off overdone on Celsius. Citi said private label has historically failed to win share. With high gas prices, I think Costco makes a lot of sense right now. Bernstein reiterated its buy rating on TJX companies, saying the off-price retailer has a powerful flywheel in motion to accelerate earnings growth to the low teens from 10%. TJX is elevating its brand, selling a higher margin mix of merchandise and reinvesting back into the business. So let's talk about those memory stocks quickly. The market got it wrong yesterday when Google announced a new algorithm, a memory compression tool that shrinks the memory required to run an AI model by a significant amount. The reaction was, means less demand for memory. But it's actually the opposite. It's how economics works out. It's how businesses, you got to understand how the model works. So Micron, SanDisk, Seagate, Western Digital, and Samsung were all down between 1% and 3% yesterday. TurboQuant compresses how much memory each individual model uses. It does not drag on total demand. It'll make AI inference cheaper to deploy at scale, which should open the door for faster deployment and greater demand over time. Now, don't get me wrong, Micron's up 305% in 12 months. It's expensive in the short term. But I've already done one analyst calling for upgrading them, saying that they're durable. That analyst that we talked about saying their product is durable for the next few years did say that when it breaks, it'll break bad and the stock will be a problem. But that's probably 2 to 3 years away. Orders for Micron and SanDisk right now are large and competitive in the sense that you have to pay asking price, which is based on demand, very high. More efficient chips do not shrink demand. The company's world-class chips have made semiconductors affordable enough to embed in everything. Demand has actually gone parabolic. And it just, you can look at the history of NVIDIA as a good reason. The market's fixating on memory per model coming down. The more relevant long-term detail is total models deployed. If you want to own kind of two big heavy plays on memory, maybe the easiest way is the iShares South Korea ETF EWY. Two of the biggest companies in Korea, Samsung and SK Hynix, make up a large portion, kind of like the Magnificent Seven, of the Korean markets. Supermicro is dropping on shareholder lawsuit alleging securities fraud around China's chip smuggling. I think success or failure starts at the top. And the fact that one of the co-founders and sales managers diverted $2.5 billion worth of AI server chips containing NVIDIA chips, that's a problem. Success or failure starts at the top. I wouldn't say quote me on that, but quote me on that. The United States Postal Service is going to hike prices as the war drives up fuel cost. They're going to hike prices 8% through mid-January of 2027. This includes Priority Mail, Priority Mail Express, USPS Ground Advantage, Parcel Select offerings. Big winner of the whole TSA airport shutdown is a company called Clear. They make money off people paying to avoid the lines. The Clear app has been downloaded 289,000 times since the beginning of the month, more than 3 times the downloads from a year ago. Clear's stock is up 60% over the past month. Meta's court defeat represents a watershed event for social media. Meta suffered 2 major legal setbacks this week in separate child safety and social media harm trials. In Santa Fe, jurors found Meta misled users about the safety of Facebook and Instagram for children, particularly regarding exposure to online predators. And yesterday, an LA jury also ruled that Meta and YouTube were both negligent, linking social media use to mental health harm. Legal experts describe back-to-back verdicts as a watershed moment, similar to when the cigarette companies back in the 1990s had to start making major settlements with state attorney generals. You create a product that financially strains a country, a state in this case, you're going to be held liable. I call cigarettes cancer sticks. My dad died of cancer. The financial penalties in the social media event were relatively small for Facebook. $375 million in New Mexico, $6 million in Los Angeles. $4 million of that in Los Angeles, I believe it's $4 million, is going to be Meta's responsibility. $2 million is going to be YouTube's. But that's the money in this case. These two cases not important. What's consequential is the legal precedent. Every state attorney general right now is thinking, we got cases. Meta's doing very unpopular layoffs. Meta's also getting investors concerned over artificial intelligence. Meta won social media, and we didn't stop them from going after how can we get users to stay on longer. I have a kid that's got a problem with social media. He would be an A student, but he's a B student because he spends way too much time doom scrolling. But it's also the way he reaches out to friends, which is, policymakers are going to need to revisit or weaken Section 230, the law that shields internet companies from liability for user-generated content. Some of the unintended consequences here could be reduced free expression. The NBA is going to expand to Seattle and Vegas. It's all but certain. They're going to begin the vetting process to add a 31st and 32nd franchise, respectively, for the 2028-29 season. New clubs will be expected to pay the NBA $7 billion to $10 billion for the privilege of having Charles Barkley ultimately make fun of them on, I guess it's ESPN now. Everyone says that's the greatest show, the halftime show of NBA games. I got to get ready for the afternoon podcast. Making a call out to you, though, on my Pints and Portfolio coming up Saturday, April 18th, 11:30 to 1:30 in Sunnyvale, California. You can learn more about it by going to robblackshow.com. It's robblackshow.com. Jump on my mailing list. I'll remind you when I have events. You can sign up at robblackshow.com. That's robblackshow.com.
Questions about Social Security? Check out the Social Security Retirement Guide at robblack.com. That's robblack.com. Powered by EP Wealth.